Hi everyone, I am Catherine from the Lady Critics Library, and before this review even starts, yes, I'm wearing clothes. So, got that out of the way. I promise. I'm not like some weird nudist or something. Anyway, so this is my video review for Cold Fury by T.M. Goglin. This novel I got from a fellow area blogger the last time we met up, and oh my god, I loved it. Don't mind me, I'm just getting over a cold. So anyways, this is about a girl named Sarah Jane whose family is in the bakery industry, so she thinks. Basically, from page 1, you find out that something has happened to her family and she's on the hunt for whoever did it. And from there, it's just craziness. It's one of those books where you don't want to give away something in the plot because it pertains to things that happen later and it builds up to it, and if I tell you, it's going to ruin it. So I'm kind of not sure exactly what all I can tell you, so there may be spoilers ahead. So I'm going to try not to, but something may slip out, so I apologize. Anyways, okay, this book, as much as I loved it, something really bothered me about it. So you get the prelude. That's your first chapter, technically. And basically it's the main character after everything has happened in the book, and she's telling you the story, which is fine. But at the same time, like, you just gave away everything, kind of. It's really hard to explain. Okay, so technically, like, you start in the present, and then it goes back and forth between the present and the past, and slowly the past starts to catch up to the present, the way that it's written. But it's like if I were telling you a story. Basically, that's how it's written. Is if something crazy like this happened to me, and I was sitting down and either writing it in a journal, like the character is, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's writing it down, or telling it to someone. So it was really difficult to read at the beginning, the way that it was written. Because, okay, so you get the prelude. It gets you all, like, up in arms, and you're like, oh my god, I need to know exactly what's going on. And then it's chapters and chapters where you're following the main character as she grows up, going through life things, which really have nothing and yet everything to do with the plot. And you're just like, oh my god, when is something going to happen? And then when it does happen, everything just explodes, and it's like nonstop action for the rest of the book. So up until that explosion, it was hard going a little. I mean, I wanted to know, and it was written really well. It's just the way that it was written. I was like, oh, you're so annoying. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like constant flashbacks mixed in with a present day narrative. Does that make sense? But anyways, once the action finally started, I could, well, okay, that's a lie. I could put it down because it was making me ill. But I finished reading it in the car, so that's why. But yeah, like I did not want to put it down, let's put it that way. Winding roads and a reader don't always mix. It took me a good hour until I could get back into the book because I was still sick. But anyways, that has nothing to do with anything. I really enjoyed this book. Like, can I say that? Yeah, because it says it on the back. Okay, so you are thrown into this mob, and like literally the mob, like Mafia mob, not like giant group of angry people mob, mentality and the lifestyle, and you learn stuff as you go, and like I don't know if any of this is real, but the way that it was written, I'm like, that could totally be true. They have, this isn't going to give anything away, so they have these Capone doors, named after Al Capone, who was a famous gangster in like the 20s, Prohibition era, right? I'm not getting my mystery mixed up. Anyways, and they're named after him, and they're for the use of the mob. And so, like, the way that they're described and the way that they're written and integrated into the story, I totally want to go to Chicago and start looking for them. And then Chicago as itself is just written so well. Like the city and the buildings, and that is like a secondary character in the novel. Like it's so like integrated in, and the novel wouldn't be the same if it was set in a different town, I don't think, or a different city, because it wouldn't have the history that would be required for this, which is awesome, because I have not read a book like this before. Like have I read books about the mob? I don't think I've read books about the mob, but regardless, like it was cool. Like that's kind of the only way to put it. Like it was so cool. And okay, I don't know if any of you have watched the TV show Shameless with William H. Macy, but it's set in Chicago. And like, because I watched season 1 of that show, which is awesome, but not to be watched if you're younger, because there's nudity and sexy times and swearing and stuff. But it's such a good show. It takes place in Chicago, and they do some of their filming in Chicago. So like when stuff like what are they called? Like their subway system, but they're called something else. The like the way that it's set up in Chicago is that some of them you have to like go upstairs, and it's like above everything. And because I've watched this show, I could totally picture it. And like even if I hadn't watched it, like it was, the descriptions used for stuff was just ridiculously amazing. Like I did not feel as though I were lost in the city at all. Like, you know, sometimes when authors write a book and they are so familiar with the city that they kind of slack on actually describing it to the reader who may not have been there. I didn't find this book like that at all. Anyways, so yeah, the book. The characters, let's go there. Sarah Jane, holy shit, I would want to be her friend, but I'd be scared shitless to be her friend. She's one tough chick. Like, there's a part where she gets like, oh, can I say that? Anyways, okay, whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. Too bad. She gets hit by a fire truck. Like, full on, walks in front of it and gets hit by it by accident. She didn't do it on purpose. She falls from like 10 feet up through a roof, like a window in a roof, onto a hard floor and gets up. Like, does she? She gets shot at. I don't know if she gets shot, but she gets shot at. She gets beaten. Like, she gets the shit beaten out of her, and the girl keeps going. Like, I was just in awe as I was reading. I was like, oh my god, she's like the bionic woman. She's also, excuse me. She's also, you find out that she started boxing at a young age because of her uncle and her dad. They were both boxers. So like boxing's really big, and it's really big for her character, which I think is how she could take a hit so well. But like, I wanted to try boxing now. Like, it sounded so cool. I wouldn't want to take a hit, but I'd want to like punch stuff. Yeah, and like, she's your typical. So if this was a paranormal novel, she would be like Bella Swan, you know, no friends, really, until they force themselves upon her, and you know, she thinks she's ugly, but everyone else thinks she's beautiful, type thing. But that's like, that's a horrible comparison for this character. Like, this character is awesome, I thought. She's realistic. Like, she's sheltered. Her family has really impacted her life, and so she's very, very set aside from everything else. And I don't think the boxing really helps either. But anyways, like, her character was just, I thought was done really well. It could have gone the cliche route, and I don't think it did. There was enough about her that kind of counterbalanced that it didn't end up being that way, which is good. And then you have all the supporting characters, the typical love interest. You get the sidekick, you get the gossipy best friend, but as stereotypical as they are, they're not portrayed as stereotypes really in the book. Like, it's so weird. It's so, like, this, I think this book could have gone really, really wrong, and it didn't, I don't think. I definitely want to go and buy a hard copy for myself. It's not just an uncorrected proof. You get, like, because it is centered around the mob, like, you get your bad guys and your good guys, and, like, there's so many twists and turns, and you don't know really who's who at times, and it's just, wow. Like, I was on the figurative edge of my seat for most, like, pretty much from the last half, because I'm, like I said, the first beginnings of the book, I'm just like, oh my god, you just need to get to the actual action. I realized a lot of world building was in that part of the book, but I was just like, there has to be a better way to do this. But anyways, no, characters were awesome. Storyline was awesome. Like, there were a lot of times in the book where I thought it was going one way and then it goes completely the other way, and I wasn't able to figure out what was going to happen next. And with the ending that this book has, like, there has to be a second book, because I need like a conclusion. I need it for myself. I need to know that, like, things are okay, and, like, I need to know what happens, because as well as the book itself ends, it has this, like, huge overhanging cliffhanger that, like, the book itself doesn't end really in a cliffhanger, but there needs to be more, hence the cliffhanger. I don't know. You know what, if you want a non-paranormal novel that's not your typical, actually, you know what, it's not a romance novel at all. There's romance, but this is not a fluffy romance novel. This is a kick-ass novel, quite figuratively. Literally. Figurative is so not the word. Quite literally, this is a kick-ass novel with a kick-ass heroine. I really, really suggest Cold Fury. And it came out in July, so it is out in stores near you. You can buy it online. I'm going to go and eventually get my own copy. And it's good. You know what? I liked it. Until next time, I am Catherine from the Lady Critics Library. And yeah, stay tuned, because I need to really film more reviews and get them posted, because I have been a bad blogger lately. So anyways, bye everyone, see you next time. Yes, before I babble for too long, because apparently I babble too much in my reviews. Thank you, commenter. I'm going to so edit that part out.